The monastery's iron gates creaked as she stepped through, her polished heels crunching gravel. I watched from the shadow of an oak, its branches clawing at the twilight sky. She was young, 23, she'd later say, but her eyes carried decades. The wind tugged at her blazer, crisp and corporate, a stark contrast to the wild roses clinging to the stone walls. Her resume? Flawless. A tech prodigy, they whispered, yet her shoulders sagged like the willow by the well, its leaves trembling as if warning run. She didn't notice me at first, too busy staring at her phone, thumb swiping absently. The screen's blue glow etched hollows under her eyes. "Here for clarity," I asked. She jumped, then laughed, a brittle sound. "Clarity's overrated. I just need sleep." But her knuckles whitened around the phone. I gestured to the path. "Sleep won't fix what's drowning you." Her smile faltered. For a heartbeat, the mask slipped, a flicker of panic, a swallowed sob. Then she squared her shoulders. "Lead the way," she said too sharply. The wind hissed through the pines. The garden was a labyrinth of secrets. Moss swallowed our footsteps. Vines choked statues of forgotten saints. She trailed behind, heels sinking into mud. "Why here?" she demanded. I nodded to the well, its stone slick with age. "It listens." She scoffed but leaned over the edge. Her reflection rippled, a face fractured by dark water. "What's the trick?" she asked. "A magic prayer? A pill?" I handed her a ceramic cup, its glaze cracked. "Fill it." She rolled her eyes but obeyed. The rope groaned as the bucket plunged. When she drank, her throat convulsed. "Tastes like rust," she muttered. "Again," I said. She refilled the cup, louder this time. Water sloshed onto her sleeve. "What's the point?" she snapped. I said nothing. A crow cawed. She drank again, faster, desperate, as if the water could scour her clean. But her hands shook. The cup slipped, shattering on the stones. She froze. "I'll pay for that," she whispered. I shook my head. "You already have." Her breath hitched. For a moment, the garden held its breath. Then she laughed, raw, jagged. "You're not what I expected." I smiled. We sat on a bench warped by rot. She fiddled with her ring, a diamond too heavy for her finger. "I did everything right," she said. "Degree at 20, promotions, a penthouse." Her voice frayed, "But I'm empty." The confession hung between us. I handed her a second cup empty. "Fill this one with what's in yours." She blinked. "How?" "Pour." She hesitated, then tipped her cup. Water splashed into the void. The first cup emptied, the second barely half full. "Now what?" she asked. I gave her a third cup. "Keep going." Her jaw tightened. "This is stupid." But she poured and poured, each cup paler, thinner, until the last held only drops. Her voice cracked. "They're all half empty." "No," I said. "You are." She recoiled. The cups gleamed in the dying light, a tribunal of lack. A moth brushed her cheek. She swatted it like a curse. "I'm not broken," she hissed. "Aren't you?" I countered. Thunder rumbled. The first raindrops fell, pocking the dust. She stared at her hands, smudged with mascara. "What now?" she whispered. Lightning split the sky. I stood. "Follow." She didn't move. Rain slithered down her neck. "Why should I?" "Because you're terrified to stay," I said. Her fists clenched. For a breath, I thought she'd bolt. Then she stood, unsteady. We walked. The storm howled. Her blazer clung to her like a second skin. At the chapel door, she stalled. "I don't believe in this," she said. I pushed it open. Candles flickered, their light pooling on a fresco of a woman drowning in a river of gold. "Belief's irrelevant," I said. "This is physics. You can't pour from an empty cup." She knelt, rain puddling around her. "What if I'm always empty?" Her voice was a child's. I lit a candle. "Then you stop pouring." She flinched. "And if they hate me?" The flame guttered. Shadows licked the walls. "Better than hating yourself." She touched the cold floor. "I don't know how to stop." Wind screamed through a cracked window. I crouched beside her. "You've already started." Outside, the well overflowed, its water black as ink. She shivered. "What's next?" Dawn bled through the glass. "You sit," I said, "and you stop." Morning came, brittle and gray. I found her by the well, phone abandoned in the mud. She'd swapped her blazer for a moth-eaten shawl. "Did you sleep?" I asked. She shook her head. "I forgot how." A spiderweb glistened between us. She plucked it, watching the threads snap. "I called my boss," she said. "Quit." No triumph, just exhaustion. I handed her the first cup. "Now what?" she asked. "Refill." She dipped it slowly. This time she drank like it mattered. Water trickled down her chin. "It still tastes like rust," she said. I smiled. "Rust is just blood of the earth." She stayed, days blurred. Some mornings she'd shake, clawing at her phone. Others she'd sit for hours, tracing the well's cracks. Pilgrims came and went, but she avoided them. "They'll want pieces of me," she said. I shrugged. "So don't give them." One dusk she snapped a rose from its stem. "What if I'm too damaged?" Thorns bit her palm. I bandaged it, silent. She glared. "You're supposed to say I'm not." I nodded to the well. "Does the water care if the cup is cracked?" She laughed, a real laugh, and tossed the rose into the dark. It vanished without a sound. Weeks passed. Her cheeks grew fuller, her eyes less hunted. She stopped flinching at bells. One afternoon she dragged me to the orchard. "Taste this," she demanded, thrusting an apple into my hand. It was sour, worm-riddled. I gagged. She grinned. "Life's not curated." I threw it at her. She ducked, laughing. That night she baked a pie with the rotten fruit. We ate it under the stars, ash from the oven smeared on her face. "I used to hate mess," she said. Crumbs fell into her lap. "Now I think it's sacred. A shooting star carved the sky. She didn't make a wish." Rain returned, relentless. The river swelled, gnawing at the monastery's walls. She stood waist-deep in the flood, clutching a sandbag. "Help!" she shouted. I waded in. The current snarled, tearing at our clothes. "Why are we doing this?" she gasped. "Because we can," I yelled back. Later, soaked and shaking, she stared at the salvaged garden. "We saved the roses," I nodded. "And the well." She touched her chest, bewildered. I thought I had nothing left to give. "A frog croaked," she giggled. "Sudden and bright." Guess I was wrong. The moon broke through the clouds. She started journaling, pages filled with sketches, the well, the crow, my crooked nose. "I'm terrible at this," she said, ink staining her sleeve. I flicked her ear. "So be terrible." She stuck out her tongue. That night, I found her burning the journal in the chapel's hearth. "Why?" I asked. Flakes of ash swirled like ghosts. "I don't need proof anymore," she said. The fire died. She unclasped her diamond ring, dropped it into the grate. It didn't melt, just glowed, a tiny, stubborn star. "Burnout's not about time," she murmured. "It's about suffocating on smoke." I handed her a new cup. "Breathe, then." Strangers began seeking her, a teenager trembling with panic, an executive clutching a stress ball. She didn't offer advice, just sat them by the well. "Bring a cup," she'd say. Sometimes they yelled, sometimes they cried. Once, a man threw his into the thorns. She fished it out, silent. I watched from the cloisters. "You're good at this," I said. She wiped mud from her cheek. "I'm just here." That night, she sobbed into her pillow. "It's too much," she choked. I said nothing. The storm passed. At dawn, she was back at the well, refilling cups. Winter iced the garden. She knit scarves, lopsided and too long. "Yours," she said, tossing me a monstrosity of tangled yarn. I wore it daily. Pilgrims smirked. She threatened to knit them socks. The well froze. She hacked at the ice, swearing. "Let it rest," I said. She glared. "Rest is surrender." But at midnight, I found her singing to the frozen water, a lullaby in a language she didn't know. The ice cracked by morning. She bowed to the well, playful. "Truce." A bubble rose in response. She named it Gerald. Spring brought cherry blossoms. She twirled beneath them, petals caught in her hair. A letter arrived, her old job begging her back. She fed it to Gerald. "You're sure?" I asked. She shrugged. "They'll drain me again." A breeze scattered ash across the garden. She planted poppies where her journal burned. That evening, a pilgrim asked her secret. She pointed to the well. "Sit, listen, and stop," he frowned. "That's it?" she grinned. "That's everything." Later, he hurled his cup against the wall. She swept the shards, humming. Summer scorched the grass. She taught children to skip stones on the river. "Your turn," she said, thrusting a rock into my hand. I missed. They jeered. She high-fived them. "He's hopeless." At dusk, we soaked our feet in the shallows. "I used to fear being forgotten," she said. A fish nipped her toe. "Now," I asked. She splashed me. "Now I'm boring." I tackled her into the water. She emerged, gasping, weeds in her hair. "Perfect," I said. She threw a frog at me. We didn't speak the rest of the night. Autumn again. Her hair blazed copper, matching the leaves. A filmmaker came, begging her story. She refused. "Stories are cups," she told me later. Mine's still full. He left a business card. She folded it into a crane, let it sail into the river. "Smart," I said. She winked. "I'm a pro." That night, she whispered, "What if I relapse?" I handed her a cup. She filled it, drank, refilled it. "Then you'll thirst," I said, "and return." The well sighed. She slept till noon. Today, she's gone. A note rests on the bench. Gerald's in charge. I find her by the highway, thumbing a ride. Where? I ask. She grins. Wherever's not. Her backpack sags with a cracked cup, a wool scarf, Gerald's pebble. You'll come back, I say. She adjusts her sunglasses. Depends. Save me a rose. The truck roars off. I return to the well. A new pilgrim waits, clutching a resume. I hand her a cup. Fill it, I say. She hesitates. Somewhere, a crow laughs. The garden leans in, hungry.